Okay, so I found an interesting story that I'm going to read out. This is Athena, by the way. She decided to sit on my back for some reason. Anyway, the Todmorden UFO mystery, close encounters in West Yorkshire. That's just in case anybody doesn't know. That's in England. Okay, I'm guessing you all know this, but whatever, just in case. Right. Okay, I'll start. On the 6th of June, 1980, 56-year-old coal miner Zygmunt Adamski left his home in Tingley, West Yorkshire, to do some shopping. He never returned. On the 9th of June, his body was found on top of a 10-foot high pile of coal in the town of Todmorden, 20 miles away from his house. Sent to investigate, local Bobby Alan Godfrey discovered that while Adamski was wearing a suit, his shirt, wallet and watch were all missing. Adamski's hair had been cropped in what PC Godfrey described as a roughly cut manner, and he only had 1 day's growth of beard, despite being missing for several days. The young policeman also reported that Adamski had mysterious burns on his neck, head and shoulders. The coroner, James Turnbull, confirmed that some of the burns had been treated with a strange ointment that could not be identified by forensic scientists. Godfrey later said that Adamski looked like he'd been frightened to death. Speaking to reporters, PC Godfrey said there was a possibility Adamski had been abducted by aliens. I'm open-minded, he said. I can't rule it out. The true cause of Lofthouse colliery workers' death remains a mystery to this day. One wild theory that did the rounds at the time was Adamski had been killed by the KGB. Another suggested he had been struck by ball lightning, which caused him to wander off, confused, and eventually die at the top of the coal heap. Too many people, though, there was only one. Too many. Oh, I don't get it. I think it's trying to say too many people. There was only one explanation. Adamski's encountered alien beings on his way to the shops, and it had cost him his life. 5 months after the grisly discovery of Adamski's body, Todmorden once again found itself at the centre of media attention. This time... Sorry, I got distracted. What the hell? Sorry, I've lost where I was up to. Something fell over at the back of the room. Start again. 5 months after the grisly discovery of Adamski's body, Todmorden was once again found itself at the centre of a media attention. This time it was none other than PC Godfrey who was in the eye of the storm. Sent out at 5 in the morning to deal with a call about escaped cattle on a housing estate, Godfrey was, according to his own account, stopped dead in his tracks by what he claimed was an unidentified flying object. Godfrey said the object was a bright light in the sky, a rotating diamond-shaped vessel 20 feet high and 14 feet wide. Godfrey made a quick sketch of the object in his notebook, and then grabbed his police radio to call the incident in. The line was dead. Suddenly it disappeared in a bright flash, and Godfrey found himself sitting in his car 30 yards further down the road. Looking at his watch, the policeman was surprised to see it was 25 minutes later than it had been just moments before. Weirder still, his boots had been split open, and an itchy mark had appeared on his feet. Baffled, Godfrey returned to where he had seen the light and discovered the road where his car had been was completely dry, despite the fact it had been raining. Getting out to investigate the area, he found the cows he'd been looking for in the park next to the road. They had not been there before. He saw the strange object in the sky. What on earth was going on? They had not been there before. he saw the strange object in the sky. What on earth was going on? Sorry, I find it really hard to read out, and the cats are messing about behind me and distracting me. Yeah, right on cue. Yeah, hello, Athena. When he finally managed to report his strange encounter, Godfrey was met with scepticism and even ridiculed. On the advice of a solicitor friend, he decided to see a hypnotist to get to the bottom of what he'd witnessed. Under hypnosis, Godfrey recalled that he had been blinded by the light and passed out. He told the hypnotist that when he woke, he was in a strange room being examined by several little creatures and tall humanoid figures with a beard. Again, he claimed his claims were raised. Oh, can't speak. Go over there. Again, his claims were met with raised eyebrows and derision. Several weeks after Godfrey's account had leaked to the newspapers and became an international news story, he was called into his inspector's office. There sat a man in a dark suit and tie who introduced himself as the man from the ministry. He had with him a file containing Godfrey's drawings and strange craft. Godfrey wasn't allowed to see the rest of the file, but assumed it also contained his account of the evening's events, plus his report on the mysterious death of Zygmunt Adamski. The man told Godfrey that he was to swear on the Official Secrets Act that he would not talk to anyone about what he had seen. Godfrey reluctantly agreed. Why are they making him do that? The young policeman then encountered the man on several occasions over the next few days. It was clear he was being followed. Eventually, Godfrey confronted the man in his local pub, telling him to clear off. The man disappeared and was never seen again. Who was the mysterious man? Was he an MI5 agent sent to warn him off? That's what Godfrey believed. Though another theory is that the stranger was actually from West Yorkshire police, sent to warn Godfrey off from speaking to the press in an attempt to not draw any more attention to the force. They were already getting a considerable amount of bad publicity over the Yorkshire Ripper case. Yeah, but surely that would draw attention away from that. You know, some of the attention anyway. I don't understand why one thing has anything to do with the other. Despite that, it later transpiring that several other police officers and bus drivers had seen strange lights on the same morning. Godfrey's claims were seen as an embarrassment to the force. He was eventually transferred to Wakefield, and an attempt was even made to have him sectioned. Oh, that's nice. Godfrey later claimed that he was hounded out of the police for refusing to give up on his story. He also talked of the negative impact the incident had on his family. I wish I'd never seen the UFO, particularly because of the effects on my children. He was later to reflect, it's not easy having a policeman as a father, but when he's a policeman who saw a UFO, it's even worse. Since the two incidents in 1980, Todmorden and other areas of West Yorkshire have become UFO hotspots. Mysterious objects have been reported for 40 years across the Pennines, in the skies above Holmfirth, Rothwell, and in 2016 over the world-famous Ribblehead Viaduct, where strange lights could be seen hovering in the sky for several hours. A mere year after Godfrey's experience, Todmorden local Vicky Dinsdale was out walking her dog with her grandfather when they saw a long, thin, diamond-shaped object that kept changing colour. Vicky's grandfather, a former sergeant in the army, told the young girl to keep what they saw to themselves, mindful of the ridicule visited on Godfrey. So is there an explanation for what happened to Zygmunt Adamski and P.C. Godfrey, or indeed for the numerous incidents that have happened in the 4 decades since? Despite many people attempting to get to the bottom of this intriguing mystery, no one has ever managed to come up with definitive answers. In the case of Adamski, the state of his clothes, his cropped hair, 1 day of beard growth, and strange burns still baffles people to this day. As for Godfrey's account, we have just his word to go on, but if he's simply making it up, it's been to his own personal detriment, as he lost both his job and a lot of his credibility, becoming a figure of ridicule to many. He also lost his family and his home and slid into alcoholism. Despite all this, he still swears that something out of the ordinary happened to him that night. Plus, there's the small matter that he wasn't the only one who reported strange goings-on that morning. This was nuts and bolts craft, not a trick of the mind, Godfrey told the audience in Halifax back in 2014. I have never seen anything like it. I would swear on the Bible it was from somewhere else. These things have been seen so many times above Todmorden, they call the area UFO Alley. Did aliens have something to do with the death of a 56-year-old miner and ruin the life of a young police officer in a small Yorkshire market town in 1980? The answer is we'll probably never know. The answers we'll probably never know for sure. For skeptics, the idea of alien abduction is a load of nonsense. But for those like the group who meet at the Golden Lion pub in Todmorden once a month to discuss these incidents as well as their own brushes with UFOs, things aren't quite as black and white. Okay, I'm sorry I read that really badly, but I find it hard to... I'm getting better. I think I'm getting better at reading stuff out, but anyway, there's a bit more. I'll just finish it off. As a part of Sky's History Mysteries season, well, I don't know when this was written, so that doesn't really matter, does it? So I'll just leave it there. I will put a link in the description. In a minute I'm going to put another one. I'm going to turn this off, but then I'm going to put something after it. I've got another story in mind. If I can find it, I'm going to put it on. If I can't, then I won't, will I, obviously.